Hey everybody, what's going on? I'm Jamie Dawn, your evolutionary revolutionary astrologer, bringing you your celestial wisdom video for the week of May 9th through the 16th of 2021. And as you can see, I'm using a virtual background right now. I thought I would choose a nice earthy one since we have a new moon in Taurus week this week, as well as you can see the little dewdrops on the blades of grass here. We have Jupiter moving into watery sign Pisces. It's home sign traditionally this week as well, blessing us, and I'll get into that. And I just want to say thank you so much for all the well wishes and prayers that you guys are offering to myself and my family as we're still navigating some difficult times. And, I mentioned in my blog, if you haven't checked it out at jamiedawn.com, you can, that, some experiences that we're having these days can be soul crushing. And this has been a very difficult time. And I can't sugarcoat it, but that's also another reason why I'm using this virtual background, because I am still, as I'm recording this, I'm still with my family and helping to really ground and navigate decisions and things that need to happen. So everybody is okay. I just want to offer that um, for what the circumstances are. So again, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I can tell you that, as often as I do these videos and talk to you individually and as groups that, I say that we're better when we are together and that we should lean in and lift each other up. And you guys have just done that for me in so many ways. And I just cannot express my gratitude. So thank you. And in all of that being said, just another little quick pin on the map before I jump into all the energetics for the week. And that is, I will be out of pocket this week. So the week of May 10th through the 16th for a workshop that I'll be teaching at with my dear friend Tisha Michelle. And also those of you who follow me and know that I'm also playing a role in Nine Gates Mystery School. There will be some activity with that as well this week. So if my responsiveness is a little bit later than usual, or I'm not available this week, this is why. So I just wanted to let you know that it's for your own planning purposes. So the big theme, let's talk about what this week is. Besides, we've got the new moon in Taurus, we've got Jupiter moving into Pisces, we've got the sun trining Pluto, we've got the moon canoodling Uranus as well as Venus. So we've got a lot of planetary activity. And I would say that maybe a theme for the week is feelings, nothing more than feelings. That's the song that I hear. And then communicating them. And maybe high sensitivity and relationship. Oh my God, because that's the way we are as human beings, right? Whether you're in a bonded relationship or you're single and seeking love or you're dating somebody, relationships of the heart are always the ones that work us the most. And I think a lot of that is because our emotions are so super heightened during those dynamics, right? And just another little pin on the map, since I didn't offer a celestial wisdom video last week, partly because I have been needing to be fully present with my family, but also because your May horoscopes by sign are available here on this YouTube channel as well. And so cranking those out, I wanted to make sure you had those and not kind of clutter the energy field with more information. This last week, we did have two planets moving into a new sign. So we had Mercury and Venus leaving Taurus and moving into Gemini. Mercury entered Gemini on May 4th, and Venus entered Gemini on May 9th. And so that happens to be Sunday, which is the beginning of the week here. And so as we have this Gemini energy being activated, we still have the sun in Taurus. We're going to have this new moon in Taurus. So we're going to have this wonderful blending, if we're able to navigate it, of the mind and the body. The heart space is always available to us. And I'm not talking about the physical heart, but that field, that energetic field of the heart where love and compassion reside. And so when we can allow the heart to continue to lead and be the master and let the mind be the vehicle in which we process the perceptions of the heart, then it can follow where the heart leads us. And, very often as I'm talking with many different people, especially when we're dealing with matters of the heart, meaning love, romance, that sort of thing, desire, it's, I go back to that phrase, the heart wants what it wants. And there's only so much that we can do to quote unquote make it go away or make it change. We can't force anybody to feel something or to want something. So what we can do is continue to work with the energy and let us become introspective. Now that Pluto is retrograde in Capricorn, we become more introspective with where we can feel maybe powerless to these emotions that are being triggered for us, right? And so, in doing so, that's the invitation that when these energies start to get really active and we start to feel like, I want this person to do this for me, or say this to me, or show up this way, or whatever, we can't control what they're going to do. But it can be an invitation for us to go deep inside of ourselves and say, where do I have choices? What power do I have? And why is this being triggered for me right now? And the trigger is a good word, as the moon canoodles Uranus on Monday, May 10th at 11 degrees. So 11 being that psychic master number, and also with Uranus there, Uranus being the planet of sudden information, the ahas, the nervousness that can come in. And I would say that Uranus also has that wonderful independent spirit, that rebel, if you will, that wild and free feeling to it. And we can get these sudden pieces of information that activate the intuitive side for us here in Taurus, and with the moon being in Taurus. And so what it can do is it leads us back to the body. So we could feel maybe a little more nervous than we would like, because we get these sudden hits in our mind and then we try to think our way through it. And the invitation with this moon canoodling Uranus, as well as Mercury in Gemini canoodling the North Node, is that if we can enjoy the freedom that we might feel of being our unique selves, not separate, but unique expressions, and then we can share these ideas with people and with ourselves, that maybe we can settle into trusting the body and letting the body lead us. So when we're trying to understand something, notice what's happening in the body. We could feel, like I say, more nervous than usual, especially if conversations start to move into the future. Uranus deals with the future, and it has this visionary quality to it. And so what we may have is conversations about possibilities. Could we do this? Could we do that? Maybe this, maybe that. And we're going to want to ground them. And we may want to materialize these ideas. And for those of us, especially in the Western world, we're so quick to do this instant manifestation thing. It's like, why don't I have it yet? And so we're going to be asked to really relax and rest into it and understand that these times can be really beneficial for us if we can take these sudden ahas, these moments, and let him lead us to new directions. It can help to open and expand the mind, which then allows the body to become more expansive. And if you find yourself constricted, if you find that your mind has gotten fixed around one idea and your whole body constricts, or your whole energy changes and it gets really tight, breathe, expand, allow the spaciousness to be there. We also have the new moon now in Taurus the very next day. So May 11th, we have that new moon, great for setting intentions that we really want to take root. But think of it this way, the new moon in Taurus is a perfect new moon for the seed to be under the soil. It's gestating, and it's going to start to form roots. It takes time. Taurus teaches us about how to take our time. And it wants life to be beautiful and comfortable. And it asks us to stick to our values, to honor our needs, and to build from the solid foundation. So when you're setting your intentions, really start with honoring what you need. What do you need for your own self-worth, for your own comfort? I would say that much of this Taurus energy, and we all have Taurus in our chart, meaning we all have this energy inside of us of wanting to be worthy, that the imposter syndrome could show up. And the saboteur to imposter syndrome is self-doubt. So if you get yourself caught in that self-doubt, maybe I'm not good enough, maybe if this relationship didn't work out, it's because I didn't do something right, therefore I'm not good. And I'm going to offer that come back to listing your accomplishments. That relationship wasn't necessarily meant for your highest good. Therefore, it needs a new foundation. And maybe that person and you come back, maybe not, but you learn something from it. And how did you show up in that relationship to start with, that maybe it's something you actually did everything right? What if you did everything right and it still didn't work? It's not about your worth. It was about the soul contract. It was about navigating what both of you needed. Because this is the other thing I would offer, is that we don't always get what we want, but we do get what we need. So come back to, what did I get out of that I needed? And what did I do really well? What are my accomplishments here? Maybe I spoke up differently. Maybe I showed up differently. Maybe I did the same thing I've always done, and now I'm more aware of it. So again, this new moon, honoring your needs, honoring what makes you who you really are, knowing your self-worth. I would also say that this new moon is inviting us to really ground our intentions in practical, tangible ways. So creating new habits are going to be a really good tool when we're trying to set our intentions. So what habit do you want to start doing that maybe you're not doing now? Or what habit do you want to increase that you started maybe at the new moon in Aries back in April? This also has a wonderful time where we can then hone our feelings, our moods, our emotions, and sensitivities, because we can find ourselves really extremely sensitive during this time, and that can tune us into our body. It can tune us into our intuition. It can tune us into what we really value. You want to know what somebody values? Notice where they spend their resources, their time, their energy, their money. I can tell you right now, clearly, my values are on my family, because I had to get on a plane and I had to come back east and I needed to be with my children. And that was more important to me than anything else. And so it right now, if they need me, that's where I show up, because that's what I value. Also, come back to, where are you placing your value? Does it still serve you? So this is a good time to take inventory. Mercury in Gemini, Venus in Gemini allows us to do some of that inventory taking. You know, it's like going to the pantry. That's the Taurus piece with the food, going to the pantry and making a list. Is anything expired? Let's toss it, you know? So look at your values. Is something expired? Does it still serve you? If not, what do I need to change that can align more with who I am today? Because again, we're not the same people we once were. We want to continue to notice the answers and the intentions when they arrive, because we'll feel it in our body. So as we've activated our senses and we have planted our seeds of intention so that we can create this new reality, because it's going to take time to create it, now we speak our truth also, because that's the other thing I will offer with this new moon in Taurus, because of the Gemini energy as well. Words create worlds. What do you want to manifest? Speak it. If that's all you do, just speaking your intentions out loud, perfect. Some of you want to do an earth ritual. Take pieces of paper, take seeds, whatever, write on them, plant them in the earth. That's always a wonderful way of offering ritual during a new moon in Taurus. Now, let's talk about the beautiful Jupiter in Pisces. This happens on the 13th, so 2 days after this new moon. Beautiful complement and energizer of Jupiter in its home sign of Pisces traditionally. This was before we discovered Neptune. And so with Jupiter in Pisces, even though it's usually associated with Sagittarius now, this is considered to be a very beneficial and beautiful, happy place for Jupiter. And so if you have a Pisces sun, moon rising, you get Jupiter expanding and blessing. Those of you who have Jupiter in Pisces, this is your Jupiter return. Yay! Exciting times. Now, Jupiter's not going to stay in Pisces for very long until it starts its retrograde at the end of June, and then it moves back into Aquarius at the end of July, where it will stay in Aquarius retrograde until the end of the year. Then it moves back into Pisces, but it doesn't stay very long. So I'm just going to put another little pin on the map for you guys, is that Jupiter in Pisces will bless, it will expand, but remember there's the overindulgence piece too, and that sometimes we don't see the blessings of Jupiter in Pisces until afterwards. So some of these benefits that we receive may not show up till 2022, like the end of it, into 2023. And so just keep that in mind, that just because Jupiter has moved into Pisces, it's not, yes, we can happy dance and we should start to feel a little bit better, happier, more optimistic. We have greater faith, greater compassion. It's a beautiful time of healing. That, remember, healing is like recovery. It takes time. I cannot emphasize this time thing enough, because remember, we still have Saturn in Aquarius, and Saturn in Aquarius is definitely one that puts some boundaries and restrictions in place, especially when we're trying to implement something in the future. So again, future-minded Jupiter, future-minded Aquarius, future Pisces likes to travel long distance, have this great faith. It's going to take time. So please don't get consternated with how much time. Use it as a tool to be able to say, good things are worth waiting for. So, of course, faith and compassion is a big topic of Jupiter and Pisces. And like I mentioned, the healing. And we've had so much to heal from over the last year to 18 months. And I do sense that while things appear to be getting a little bit better for some, not everything is as it appears to be. So one of the shadow sides of Jupiter and Pisces is rose-colored glasses. So we really do have to be careful that we don't over color, or that we make things bigger, or false hope. That's the word I'm looking for. We have to be careful that we don't move into this false hope place, and that we paint all this optimism on what is going to happen because of something that we perceive as being good, or maybe it is good for us and we think that's how it's always going to be, and or that this is the answer to everything, that one size fits all or one pill for everybody kind of thing. And I'm going to keep bringing us back into the body, grounding, 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 to say, please trust in your own inner wisdom. And I'll use the hot topic of the vaccine right now, because that is what everybody is feeling more hopeful and optimistic about. And yet it's still very early. And there's still a lot of data that's being gathered, and we don't know what the long-term effects are yet. I'm not discouraging and I'm not encouraging. I'm playing very much Switzerland here. I'm being as neutral as I can around it, to say, trust your body, trust your inner wisdom. If you feel this is the right thing for you, then by all means. If you don't, then please listen to that as well. There's a reason. And if we can, try not to let it divide us so much that we create more of a divisiveness, but allow it to come back to this common ground of everybody has their own inner wisdom, and we're all unique expressions of this one collective being. And this beautiful being is expressing itself through us and wanting to have these varied experiences. So your experience is not bad or wrong any more than mine is. It's just different. And I go back to that phrase, that different doesn't mean wrong, it just means different. And what we're going to be doing as we continue to navigate the Aquarian energy as well, is we're looking for resonance, we're looking for congruency, we're looking for the like-hearted, like-minded individuals that we can resonate with. But that doesn't mean that just because someone doesn't resonate with us, that they don't, that they're bad. Okay. So please just let's use this Jupiter and Pisces energy to heal some of those wounds that may have opened for many of us. The other thing we do have to look at too is that our faith can be tested. It has been certainly over the last several months and even years. And what I will say is that with Jupiter and Pisces, we can start to rebuild faith, that we should be able to receive some really positive pieces in our life where we have been tested. If you look at where you've been tested most, maybe it was in relationship, maybe it was in finances, maybe it was in other circumstances in your life, that there should be some blessing that reveals itself, that gives you some good news, something that you've wished for quite some time. It's finally here. Here's the difficulty or the challenge that many of us have. We get something really good, and then we start looking for ways that it's not good anymore, or that the shoe drops, if they say, or we look for the next thing, and we don't take time to enjoy the goodness of what it was. Now, the other thing with Jupiter and Pisces on a collective level, we will probably start to have more travel open up, especially from the long distance side. I would imagine that there will be more countries that allow the borders to open for people to come back and forth. And I would also say that if there has been this feeling of separation between you and a beloved or a loved one, that this time could bring people together again. So if you feel like you have been on the receiving end of maybe lack of communication or distance separated you and a loved one, that during the Jupiter and Pisces time, you could come back together. Now, remember, the window's a little small. So I would imagine that when Jupiter retrogrades back into Aquarius, there may be some other restrictions that can take place. And I only say that because Saturn is still in Aquarius and it is retrograding now, or excuse me, it will be on the 23rd of this month. And so we may be revisiting some of those lockdowns and restrictions in the longer term or the bigger picture. So I'm going to keep grounding. Don't get too ungrounded or too unrealistic about or optimistic about where things could go. We want to come back to the present moment. That's going to be really important. Now, we are going to have still the sun in Taurus this week, and it's going to be trining Pluto, which is in Capricorn and retrograde now. And so that can give us an opportunity to integrate what we may experience this week with the new moon intentions, with Jupiter in Pisces. We start to get a little taste of that, and we can start to see where little information, maybe little experiences about what we're wanting and some positivity, we can start to integrate that. And I think that's where our belief about, can I really believe that this is sustainable? Yes. I also feel as though when the sun is trining Pluto, and that'll happen on Sunday, the 16th, that we start to also get active with this feeling of power inside of us. This trine doesn't last very long, but we can start to look at, where can I energize more power within me? Maybe I have that conversation. Maybe I actually take some action because I have this will, so I can actually force myself to do some of these habits, really enforce those habits that I've decided I'm going to start, maybe. Or it can also create a feeling of forced optimism where we're feeling so energized by the events and life and all of that, that we're ready to go and we're going to share it with anybody and everybody that will listen. And we may even take some very decisive action during this time that can put us in positions of power. But remember, with power comes great responsibility. And so again, the responsibility, the ability to respond. Jupiter in Pisces, also sun trining Pluto. We will be finding ways in which we can be of greater service. So that's the other thing with Jupiter and Pisces, is that we have all this power that we've gathered. Now, how can we use it to be of great benefit, to be of service to others? This is the beautiful, I'll say, generous and sacrificial energy. Sacrifice doesn't always have to mean martyrdom. Sometimes we sacrifice. Anybody who's a parent understands that, or you have, it doesn't necessarily have to be a parent to a child. It could be a parent to an animal. It could be a parent to your plants, or whatever you're tending, whatever you feel is in your purview that you feel responsible for, that you're tending and taking care of, this energy field that we're in right now will most likely ask of us to really show up and be generous and to be of great service. And we may feel like we want to because we can have the resources that we need. That's the other thing. I would say that this week in particular should start to reveal to us more resources that we have to be able to help others. Of course, there's a shadow side, though, because we can get greedy, we can become extravagant, and we can overspend and overindulge. So we do need to pay attention to when that gets active as well. So if for some reason you're one of those who can overindulge a little bit, have somebody nearby who can ground you, who can bring you a good dose of reality without yucking your yum, as I like to say, because there's nothing worse than somebody coming in and going, well, you know, you can't do this because it's like, okay, I get that. However, let me have a little bit of moment here in the sun, you know, or yes, I hear you. Thank you. And I'm going to stay really present, really grounded in the body and continue to move forward. All right, you guys, I really hope that this video helps. Please like, subscribe, share, comment, and of course, find me at jamiedawn.com. As I mentioned, I will not be available this week, but I look forward to speaking with you and connecting with you in the upcoming weeks ahead. We've got some really good things coming, but there's still challenges because remember, life keeps happening. So let's not block the flow. That's the other thing. Jupiter in Pisces wants us to flow. Oh, I do want to bring up one more thing. I'm sorry. I'm being told by Spirit to make sure that I offer this because a lot of you who are watching these videos are extremely empathic and extremely sensitive. And that's the other thing with Jupiter and Pisces. We may feel like our nerves are exposed on the outside of our skin, our emotions are flowing. So please make sure that you do some self-care, especially if you're in the caregiving mentality, or you feel that Jupiter and Pisces, where it's that generous giving to be of service, all of that. Remember that we can give so much more when our cup is full and overflowing. So please take time to always take care of yourself, striking that balance between the giving and being open to receive. All right, you guys, have a great week. I look forward to connecting with you in the future. Take care.